Lead fever coming at ya.
Subscribe to Papa's YouTube channel.
We're out.
Good morning, everybody. This is Johnny with Lead Fever. Finally back out here at the range this morning. I'm going to try and get some recording done before the wind gets up. I don't think it's going to get terrible today, but right now we don't have any. It's about 40, maybe 38 or 40 degrees out here. I tuned this rifle. This is the Notos. And I will, once I get my target camera set up, I'll tell you a few things about it before we shoot it. I tuned it in the basement last night with it being 72 degrees. I've dropped some velocity this morning because of the temperature change, but it seems to be shooting okay, so we're going to see what it shoots like. I got the scope zeroed. It's got one of the CV Life scopes on it. It's got the 5 to 25 to 50 on there. And we are out there at 50 yards. I'm not doing no 25-yard stuff. If this thing won't shoot at 50, I don't want it. So we're going to see what it does at 50. Let me go get the target camera in place. And I will be right back. And we will get started on this Notos. And I'll tell you about the build and the ups and downs that I've had with it. And we'll get going and we'll see if the thing is formidable at shooting at 50 yards. That's what I wanted to build it for. Shooting these JSB 18.13 grain pellets. That's what I've built it around. I don't really want to shoot anything heavier than that. I might try some 21s, 23s. Later on, I still have enough hammer spring to get my velocity way up there. I was shooting 930 feet per second with these pellets last night, and I tuned it down to 870. I think right now we're right around 845 or 850. We'll see here once we get started. So give me a minute to get the target camera set up, and we'll get this thing on the road. All right, folks, I'll talk about this a little bit. I've had this thing put together and taken apart at least 8 times. I did take the CRC precision plenum off of it. I had too much plenum volume, I thought. When you build one of these and you don't know what you're doing, you need to research a lot of stuff, and I did, but I didn't quite get there as far as the tuning goes. I was thinking that the factory 1900 PSI reg setting would probably get me on the new build if maybe I went up to 2200 PSI at the most. This thing was shooting extremely loud, and on a 300cc bottle, I was only getting 27 shots before I fell off the regulator. It was extremely loud. I was dumping a lot of extra air. So I knew that my valve was staying open too long. And I reached out and asked several people, for some help. And they all tried to help the best they could. Well, I reached out to Mr. Hajimoto at Hajimoto Productions. I called him. He answered the phone. He talked me through it. He wanted to know what all mods I'd done to it, where my hammer spring was, what PSI I was set at, how many shots I was getting, what my velocity and everything was. I told him. He said, okay. He said, with the mods that you've done, you're probably wanting about 2400 PSI on the reg setting. Your valve's staying open too long. He says, once the pellet's left the barrel, you're still dumping air. He said, set it at 25 because when you tighten down the jam nut, it's going to back it back off a little, and it should put it right around 24. So that's where I'm at. I'm right between 24 and 2500 PSI, and I'm filling it up to 4000 PSI. I've got the single load on here from Maple Customs. The magazines in this thing, I got some custom magazines. They were hanging up. I had to disassemble the gun to get the jam pellet out. I chamfered the entrance to the chamber of my barrel. It wouldn't even feed out of the single shot tray that comes with the gun. They were bucking up in there and getting hung up. I got that part taken care of, but it's still not feeding out of the magazines, so I don't really care about the magazines. I did shoot one shot and purged it before I started recording. So let's go up there to the very top on the left and let's see what we can get. Now this rest, I don't have a block on here. I ordered 2 blocks and they sent the wrong mounting hardware. They sent 3-inch drywall screws of all things. All right, we're close to bullseye. So I'm not going to fool the scope. I'm just shooting for groups. 840. 841.2 is what our velocity was. And I'm going to do 5-round groups, and I'm going to shoot as many pellets as I've got here and see if we stay on the reg. I think I got about 30 pellets laid out. And today I'm just using these pellets because that's what I tuned the gun for, or tried to tune it for. And these are really hard to load with these big fat fingers, y'all. Just be patient with me, if you will. And my gun's rocking around. Once I get the bench block on there, I'll be set. This thing will be a tack driver, I believe. Okay, that last one was 840.6. That one flew out. 839. And we are at 50 yards, so I think our velocity being dropped down. And the thing about this gun that I don't like, you can't adjust the hammer spring on it without taking this rear piece off. The AR buffer tube. I've got to try to figure out something to get around that. If I could crank my velocity up this morning, these would probably group better. I think that last one was me. This is with that bottle and no pick rail, and I had a bottle band with a pick rail, and I had the block mounted to it, but I had to take it off and put it on another gun we're going to shoot this morning. And I didn't want to take a chance on just moving them back and forth and marring up somebody's nice stock. Okay, how many shots is that? That's 4 shots. All right, all of them are basically in one hole except for that one that flew out. And what I'm looking for is a tight SD after all of these shots. And this Maple Custom single feed load system is really nice compared to the tray. The tray is really hard to deal with because of my big hands. All right, let's move over, try to get leveled up here and hit that second group. I'm having a hard time holding still. Once I can hold this thing really still, this is light. This thing is extremely light compared to what I've been shooting. The guns I shoot normally weigh around 15 pounds, 15 to 18 pounds. This thing probably doesn't weigh 6 the way it sits right now. What I wanted with this build is a 50-yard gun. It may even shoot at 100, I don't know. I'll try it eventually. I wanted a 50-yard gun that would shoot these 18 grain pellets at a decent velocity. Stock these things shoot, I think 720, 740 feet per second with 18 grain pellet. And last night I had them going over 920 feet per second. So almost 32 foot-pounds of energy. Let me just quit talking here and concentrate on making these count. Okay, one more shot in that group. So far it seems to be a shooter. All right, that's basically all in one hole. Maybe one drop low, I can't tell from here. Right now our SD is at 1.2, and that's what we need. These pellets here are sorted. They're 18.2 grain. I won't shoot the pellets for groups unless I weight sort them, because these JSBs have about 5 or 6 different groups of weights once you sort through them. Third group. Drop that one a little low, or it could be parallax error. I'm going to have to find a way to weigh this thing down. I think once I get the block on the front of it and add some tar weights to it, that's going to help. This scope is not real heavy. but it is heavy enough, I guess. Yeah, we're back up where we're supposed to be. I pulled that one. I had my trigger set just about 10 ounces. I had it down to 8, but I accidentally bumped it one time while I was doing some velocity test, and it went off, and I didn't like that, so I cranked it up just a hair. SD right now is at 1.9. Right around 844 feet per second. I'd like to see it at 870, but like I say, the change in the temperature out here is the difference. Let's see. That was shot 15. Let's go to the next group. And I'd like to thank Mr. Paul Dunn for the AR buffer tube and the adjustable buttstock and the grip. And he also sent me some Hornady one-shot, and he made me a magwell funnel for my Mark II that I'm not able to use just yet. I have to make one little modification to it. He didn't have the rifle, so he wasn't able to finalize it, but it's going to be pretty slick. It's going to help me load those mags a lot easier. I can say I'm going to be able to shoot this thing a lot better once I get the bench block on the front of it and get it to where it holds steel. I'm using my other rest that's got the regular V-bag in it. And this CV Life scope I've got on here, I've got it at 23 power right now. And it is just awesomely clear. And the dot perfectly fills the center of that little red dot, or that little red circle down there, the white part in the center. It perfectly fills it in. One more shot for this group. Our SD is, I think it's 1.8. I'm going to have to make the screen stay light a little longer on that so I can see what's going on. It's dimming out too quick. I was testing this thing yesterday, and I had a really good shot string going, and my battery went dead on my chrono. I didn't even look at it to see how much juice I had in it. I just started shooting it. So we got one more shot on this group. That was shot 20. And we're still on the reg. Should be with a 300cc bottle. Boy, these tiny pellets. Be a good time to have some little girly hands. All right, let's move over to that next group. I went a little bit high on that, I think. This single shot tray from Maple Customs is a lifesaver. I pulled that one. got a little tray that flips out, and it's got a hole with an O-ring in it. You put your, well, I dropped that pellet. Won't be using it. It would have been better for me if this thing had a loaded on the right side, because I'm right-handed. Now I'm opening up this last group. I'm having trouble holding it still. Yeah, I opened that one up. That's my fault. Okay, we dropped down in velocity just a little bit on that one. Came back up. Our SD is still at 1.6. We got one more shot for that group. I'm trying not to make this video too long, but I wanted y'all to see how this thing shot. I wanted to see how it shot. I hadn't had a chance to shoot it yet. Just testing it. Getting used to this trigger. This has got a really good trigger in it. I put the Rogue Air trigger kit in it, and it's got the buck rail grip adapter for the AR adjustable buffer tube and stock. Okay. That shot 25. Let's go to the next group. Good thing I'm paying attention here. We'll shoot what pellets I got here and call it a day on this test. Yeah, I pulled that before I wanted to. I wasn't lined up. This thing is all over the place. It's so light. I'm not trying to make excuses. It's just, I'm a big guy. I've got diabetes. I shake a lot. And it's really hard to hold still if it's not really heavy. That's why I make all my rifles so heavy. And I like these scopes. These CV Life Bear Power scopes are, I think, the best buy on the market. I'm going to be putting them on everything I got eventually. For $200, you can't go wrong. It's a perfect target scope. I think I'm getting the hang of this loader here. Well, I can honestly say that for what the rifle is and what it was designed for, to shoot at 25 yards at 740 feet per second with the same pellets and not group as good at 25 as what this is grouping at 50, I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, that's 30 shots. Let's move over. I don't want to make this too long. I don't want to bore you all, but I want to shoot what pellets I got here and see how much juice I got left in the tank once I get done with it. We're still on the reg. We're still staying in the same area of velocity, and our SD right now, it looks like 1.7, which is extremely good. I think I can tune this thing to shoot the 25.39 grains. I may be able to do that. And if I can, this thing should be able to shoot at 100 yards pretty accurately. Well, that one flew out. That one dropped a little bit lower in velocity, but not much. Our SD is still 1.8. I don't know if that was a pellet skirt or me pulling it. That's the first major flyer that we've had. I'm not used to a grip for my trigger. And I can't use the pinch method on this one. There's nowhere to grab it. Okay, 2 more shots on this group. And I'm getting a little tired because this single loading without having a magazine is adding a lot to the process, but it makes it a lot more accurate, I think. And this is the biggest group we've had so far. And it's not bad. So that shot 35 and we got 3 pellets left, so I'll just leave it at that. And come around here and see what we got for pressure. We still have 2,500 PSI in the tank, so we should be able to get another 20 shots out of it maybe. I don't know. But 30, what did I say, 35 shots? Is that what we had? Yeah, 35 shots. Let's go through this real quick, folks. Let's see what we got. We had a standard deviation of 1.9. We had an average of 842.2 feet per second, a minimum of 838.6, a max of 847.8, a standard deviation of 1.9, an extreme spread of 9.2, and our kinetic energy was 28.7. I was at 31.5 foot-pounds of energy last night when I tested this thing out my back door, just using the chrono. I wasn't really trying to aim at anything. So let me go pull that target and let's measure those groups. And let's see how it did. I think it did pretty good. I mean, for 50 yards and what is considered a budget carbine for plinking and small game hunting at 25 yards or so, I think that it's going to do really good. And I must say these little CV Life Bear Power scopes are they're a really budget scope, but they're a really, really good scope. They're the clearest scope that I've looked through. My son has a Vortex Strike Eagle, the same power, and it's got a bigger tube on it and a bigger objective. It's a 56 objective lens, and it's a 34 millimeter tube where this is a 30. It'll have more elevation adjustment and windage adjustment, but this is all I need. This has better glass in it than that scope, and he paid, I think, $1,400 for it. So I'm not bashing Vortex. I'm just saying that if you want a really good scope that's going to do you well for a little bit of money, this is the way to go. Now I got the buck rail, I think they call it the collet moderator on here. I have the Hubin Power Dream Notos TK regulator and dual gauge set up. Got the 300cc bottle that came with it as a kit. I have the C88 Air FX liner barrel kit and FX STX liner 600 millimeter barrel. And I've got the C88 side cocking lever, the buck rail grip adapter, the Rogue Air trigger kit, and of course I got the AR 6-position adjustable buttstock. Mr. Paul Dunn made this bag rider out of a piece of PVC tubing, I think 3/4 inch tubing. It works really, really good. I'm very thankful to him. He sent me some Hornady One-Shot, and we're going to do some CCI standard velocity test using Hornady One-Shot also. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Paul Dunn. I've got some other people to give a shout out to. Mr. Hajimoto, I thank you very, very much. You're a very kind and unselfish man, and you're very knowledgeable in what you do with air rifles, and I thank you for your help. I thank you for your help on getting my order put through the day that I ordered this stuff and the computer system was messed up. Y'all check Mr. Hajimoto out over there. The guy is a brain when it comes to these air guns, and he's a professional shooter too. He shoots really, really good. So I'm going to go measure these up and try to cut this a little shorter. I'm just excited to be out here. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been able to come out and shoot. And let's measure these up and see what we got. I'll be right back. All right, folks, here's what we have with this. This is the Custom Notos Custom that I built. I never shot it in its factory state. I wanted to customize it. I wanted to be able to shoot heavier pellets at a longer distance, and I think we achieved that. I'm really kind of surprised at how well it's shooting. Our first group, these are all 5-round groups, and we have 7 5-round groups. Our first group is .262. The next one is .232, .338, .332, .240, .231, and the last one was our biggest, .398. I was getting tired at that point, trying to hold this thing still. Once I get the bench block on there and get it in my flat bag, it's going to be a lot easier to deal with. So we had an average velocity of 842.2, a minimum of 838.6, a maximum of 847.8, a standard deviation of 1.9, an extreme spread of 9.2, and our kinetic energy was 28.7 foot-pounds of energy. That was using the JSB Exact Heavy Diablos. And these are weighed out to 13.2 grains, anything from 13.2 to 13.29. And our average for all 35 rounds at 50 yards was .290 inches. And that's really pretty good for an air rifle, I think. Well, especially one in this price range. Let's back out here and look at this thing just a little bit, and I'll say a couple more things about it. This was fun to build. I'm not done with it, by no means. I have to get my magazine issue figured out. I did have to chamfer the chamber on this barrel adapter to get them to load right. That made a huge difference, but my magazines still are letting the rounds get sideways in there as they're feeding in, and it's locking them up in the magazine, and they're getting so bent you can't get the magazine out. You have to take it apart and get it out without damaging your barrel. But this build turned out really good. It's super lightweight. I need a bottle and barrel band with a pickerel adapter on it that fits this barrel. I want to hold that barrel still. I have barrel dampeners coming from Terminator Industry. I'm not even sure that I'll put them on there as good as it's shooting right now. It's got the Buckwell moderator on it. It's got the Human Power Dream Notice TK rag and bottle setup. I drilled the restrictor plate, poured out to 4.2 millimeters. It has the C88 air valve with the port drilled out, the valve body with the port drilled out to 5 millimeters. And then we have a C88 hammer spring weight, which is 5 grams, adds 4 millimeters of compression to the spring. Got the C88 side cocking lever on it. And we have the Buckwell grip adapter and the Rogue Air trigger kit. And then we have the buffer tube and adjustable buttstock that Mr. Paul Dunn sent to me. Thank you, Paul. Got the CV Life Bear Power 5 to 25 by 50 scope on it. Folks, I'm really happy with this setup. And we have the Maple Customs. Let me show you all a little close-up of this thing and show you how it works. Let's get over here where we can see it. I want to show you how this thing works. You just pull your cocking lever back, and then this tray just comes out like that. It just flips over, and it's got your hole here where you push your pellet, and it's got an O-ring to hold it in there. Then you just flip it back over and load one in there. It's pretty slick. I've got one for my Avenge X also. They make them for several rifles, and it's a really handy thing to have. Single loading in these air rifles are much more accurate than loading out of the magazine. When you load out of the magazine, you deform the pellet a little bit. And if you go through the trouble to weight sort them and all that, then you might as well single load them. So that's what we got, folks. I want to let you go. This is kind of a lengthy video, and I don't want to hold you too long. But for those of you who enjoy this, I know you're going to watch it anyway. The ones who just want to see the results, that's what they'll do, and that's what these videos are about, just to let people see what's going on. And I hope it was enjoyable. I hope it was informational as well. So this is John with Lead Fever. We're out for this one, and we're going to do some more tests today. I'll have some more videos coming for you. Hold on.